Hello and welcome to another episode of Outer Sounds. We're here today with Roberto Laneri, and we'll be chatting about his music and the reissue of PRIMA Materia's The Tale of the Tiger on Superior Viaduct, which is the June selection for Outer Sounds. How are you doing?
Fine, great, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for chatting with me today. So I wanted to, just get started, and tell me about your background with music, how you, got into music as a child and a young person, and then kind of leading up to the time where you formed the group PRIMA Materia.
Yeah, I always loved music as far back as I can remember. And then when I was, 12 maybe, I saw the movie, The Glenn Miller Story, and wanted to play trombone. And my parents said, no way, because they thought that playing a wind instrument ruins your lungs and general health, and you die quickly. I kept insisting, and finally they said, okay, but it's got to be a smaller instrument. And so I took up the clarinet.
Okay.
And the other condition was, as long as it doesn't become a profession, you can do it as a hobby.
Yeah, that's what all parents say, I think.
I don't know. Meanwhile, I was studying at the university. I was studying philosophy. And I almost got to the end of my degree. I had one exam or so missing. And meanwhile, I was taking lessons, private lessons in clarinet. And at some point, it seemed to me I was getting kind of good. I said I want to enroll at the conservatory and study seriously. And I took the admission exam. And I did a few years at the conservatory. Then at the conservatory, I met this professor, Alan Siegel, in clarinet from the State University of New York at Buffalo, SONIAB, whatever you call it.
But you grew up in Rome or in Italy, obviously.
In Rome, yes.
And then you came to the US to go to school.
Yeah, because we got sort of friends, and I mentioned that I would like to study elsewhere. The conservatory wasn't exactly a rosy place to study music, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he said, well, why don't you apply to Buffalo? I said, okay. And I applied, and I got the no tuition scholarship. And then I went there. And I got my BA and MA in performance and composition. My instrument was the clarinet then. And then I joined the group. There was a group called the Creative Associates. It was like a chamber music group, to perform a series of contemporary music. And I was very much into what I call now straight contemporary music then.
Yeah.
Sort of structuralist approach, lots of notes and boulez and so on.
Who did you study with there at Buffalo? Was it Feldman or somebody else?
It was Jerry Hilder.
Okay.
Studied composition with Jerry Hilder. Yeah, it was very nice. And great friends there, like Jen Williams, the percussionist.
Yeah.
And so on. Anyway, and then what happened? I applied for a PhD program in San Diego, UCSD. And right before getting there, I discovered the overtones. Yeah. Meaning that all musicians and lots of non-musicians know what overtones are, but that's about it. They don't do anything with them. It's just something that's there, and you forget.
Yeah, like a theoretical thing or something. Yeah.
Yeah, something on page 2 of your theory, theory manual or whatever. No, what happened is that for a strange coincidence, I spent about 4 hours practicing overtones the night before I left for San Diego, for La Jolla. And I could hear them, the day after I could hear them and nail them down and so on. And then I got to UCSD, and the first time there, just sort of hanging around. And then I met Linda Wickerman. She was a faculty voice teacher there. And she, well, you know, who are you? What do you do? And so on. How would you like to join a group for, well, the recreation of out of the way techniques, you know, strange techniques.
Yeah.
The extended vocal techniques. And I said, great. It was just what I was getting into anyway.
Yeah.
And I worked with the group for about a year. And then, well, I was sort of dissatisfied with well, you see, the overtones got me away from this academic, I don't know what you call it, music approach, but I guess it's pretty clear, you know. And I was looking for something else. I mean, I wasn't interested in overtones as a catalog of sounds to use by composers, you know.
Right.
I had the feeling it was something else. And then I sort of imagined my own group, which was Prima Materia. We had a different name at first, but anyway, the real name, the official name became Prima Materia.
I have a quick question. So when you were discovering, you know, vocal overtone singing, did you discover, you know, music from Tibet, or, you know, were you listening to music from, you know, that part of the world that was using those techniques? Just curious how it, you know, how you related with that.
Well, at first, not that much. I only knew the Tibetan record, the UNESCO series, the third voice. I had never heard the Mongolian, you know, Humi, which I got to hear in San Diego. We had a little tape of some Mongolian shepherd, and we tried to duplicate what we heard. Yeah. It took about 2 months then. Now in an afternoon, in a workshop situation, you can get it quite easily. Anyway, as I said, you know, Prima Materia was meant to be something a little different from the general contemporary music group.
Yeah, it seems like you were kind of moving into an area that was less about, you know, writing notes on a page and more about spontaneous composition and improvisation, right? Yeah.
Even though I changed my mind a lot later, but that's a different story.
Sure.
That was it. That was it basically, and the guiding idea, so to speak, was the overtone series. You know, the overtone series as a determinant of style, an anthropologist would call it. You know. Yeah. Which is something which in classical music it doesn't have that function anymore. Right. Because of the template system and so on.
Yeah. So, you know, once you formed Prima Materia, were you writing music for that, or were you getting together with other vocalists and improvising? How was the structured, or how did you kind of approach that?
Yeah, what happened, we made our debut at the Berlin Metamusic Festival with Derry John Maisel, an American composer. I forget where he is now, but anyway. And some Italian friends of mine who, in the meantime, you know, took some months, I sort of, taught what I knew about overtone singing. And that's what happened. And well, there was also a yoga teacher in the group. She was also a musician, but mostly a yoga teacher. Okay. Because, you know, the idea was not that you just walk on stage and you sort of take off, you know, but just to go on stage with you know, in a strong frame of mind.
Start from a focused center and kind of move out from there and explore, right?
But in the meantime, I kept practicing and playing all sorts of contemporary music anyway. It was not something that I forgot all of a sudden. Right. I was more into the minimalist area, let's say. Yeah. The kind of music I identified the most.
And were you continuing to play play wind instruments through this time, or do you kind of really shift it to the voice?
No, I continue at clarinet and saxophone. In fact, then I got an offer to teach at an Italian conservatory.
Okay.
As soon as I finished my PhD, and then I went back to Italy.
Yeah.
Teaching clarinet.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have, a question, about, my next question was about, in the original liner notes to Tale of the Tiger, Alvin Curran wrote some words about the music, and he references the New Age movement, which, some people have, negative connotations about that, but at the time,
I certainly do.
yeah, I know a lot of people do. And, but if we put it in context, of when you formed Prima Materia and were making this music, that was right at the beginning of the New Age movement, maybe even before it, so things were kind of, being discovered and sort of worked out. But the thing I wanted to ask was, how did you, it sounded like you were already interested in moving away from the academic world and integrating, maybe some other cultural things that were happening, and that would include, Eastern religion and practices, and also just California in the 70s, that was certainly influential, I'm sure. So,
right. Well, I was very much into yoga. I mean, practicing yoga.
Okay.
And into, Tibetan Buddhism, meditation, like that. However, I must say, even then, I was, I'd say, a bit skeptical about the whole New Age thing, which always seemed a little too soft for me,
Right.
That in mind was more like hard work with your mind, if you wish, and more of a serious thing. Let's put it this way, even though it sounds fun. And that means that I wasn't sort of taking up a new lifestyle and forgetting.
Right.
In fact, in the back of my mind, there must always have been the idea of integrating, the two hemispheres, East and West, whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. So tell me about, after you graduated from UCSD, you moved back to Italy to teach, and you formed Prima Materia in San Diego, but you kept the group going once you moved back to Italy.
Yeah, eventually the American members didn't follow. Of course, it wasn't a group that you made a living with.
Yeah.
And they were all Italian friends. Some of them musicians, but none, I think, really professional musicians. Was like that. I was the only one professional.
Right. So there were some revolving members, and you were kind of the focus or leader of it. So you performed probably a bunch of concerts, but you just recorded the one album for that you released as part of your label, right? That you started.
Yeah, I mean, the label was not much more than, hey, let's make some records and sell them.
You and Alvin Curran, right? And was Chelsea part of this too?
Oh yeah, it was very much part of it.
Yeah.
We actually got to do a lot of concerts at the time, because it was a new thing on the international scene. We used to sing in Germany and Holland, the Holland Festival, and Switzerland, and very much. And most concerts have actually been recorded.
Okay.
I had tapes and whatever.
Yeah, I know on the you can see over my shoulder here is the D Schachtel box set. I know that has an LP of a live recording. And I think they put out a CD that has another live recording on it. So pretty pretty cool. Cool to hear the live versions of these pieces too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about is, you started this group in, the mid to late 70s, and then there's definitely other people who were exploring, overtone singing kind of in this way, that came after you probably, I'm thinking about Michael Vetter and David Hikes, Peter Michael Hamel, people were doing kind of like this,
Yeah.
East meets West, kind of compositional music. And did you meet any of these people? Or are you familiar with them? Or do you think there was some sort of pollination going on?
I was great friends with Peter Michael Hamel. We did some concerts together. Also, he was playing keyboard and so on.
Yeah.
And I met Michael Vetter.
Mm-hmm.
I think he started around the same time that I did. I mean,
okay. Yeah.
We probably were the first also with Tran Wan Khai, the ethnomusicologist.
Mm-hmm.
Although I must tell you, to me, it doesn't matter. It's not a matter of chronology so much.
Yeah.
I mean, people tell me that I was a pioneer. It's a word about which I have mixed feelings, because pioneers in generally do something before the others and
right.
worse than the others
right.
who come after, But anyway.
It's all coming from the same source anyway, like, so it's kind of doesn't really matter, who did it when, I would say, but it's more about hey, we're looking to this kind of singing and music to create some new music, and I think that's really fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Were you familiar with Lamont Young's music, or, kind of the Terry Riley and the axis around, they were studying with Pandit Prannath and, bringing his, the Drupad singing style in trying to incorporate that into their music?
In fact, I took a course by Pandit Pranath in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Terry was also there, being an assistant, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, we were great friends with Terry.
Yeah.
Lamont Young, I was familiar with his music, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't too crazy about it, I must tell you the truth. To me, it was just, too little music.
Yeah. He does a very specific thing,
But anyway, I said that the whole minimalist approach was very important for me also in my own composition, pieces that I wrote. And Frederick Jeski, also was writing that way at the time.
Yeah. He was living in Italy as well, right?
Yeah.
With Curran. So why did PRIMA Materia kind of dissolve, or, stop doing concerts and things?
Well, all great marriages.
Yeah, I know, right? All good things must come to an end.
Okay, let's put it this way. It was partly for personal reasons.
Okay.
From a personal split between myself and the lady who came to Italy with me, Susan Hendricks. In the sense that we were sort of the driving force, behind all this,
mm-hmm.
in terms of appearance and so on. But it was also, this is more subtle, and I came to realize it afterwards, that format to me had got to a point beyond which it could not really go much further.
Right.
In other words, what I was going into, and I got to realize this only later, was what now I call harmonic convergency, which is something which in my mind allows the fusion, the real fusion of these Western practices, which are basically drawn based, you
Yeah.
just sit on a drone, with a vertical approach of the West, which ain't bad, but
Yeah.
it also had some great stuff, Perotinus and all that.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to elaborate that, and for which I really had to work on my own. And also with multi-track recording, so that I was hear different things and so on. The vertical approach again.
Right. Yeah, bringing a harmony back into it. So yeah, that leads me into kind of my next question is tell me about the music that you've been making since then. I know it's a long time. It's starting in the 80s and kind of moving forward. You're still very active now, making music. And if you want to kind of wander through that history, feel free.
Yeah, I'll make it short.
Yeah, well, take your time, whatever. Yeah, whatever you want to cover.
Yeah, well, all this time I've been playing saxophone and clarinet and bass clarinet, and doing jazz things also from time to time. I might mention that when I was in Buffalo, I had a course with Charlie Mingus, and
oh, you did?
Yeah, not only I did, but I was his only student.
I didn't know he taught there. That's kind of crazy.
Well, that was his comeback.
Okay.
There was a SLE professorship in Buffalo, by which you could hire people who were not strictly academic,
right,
in the field of music. And that year, the students got to vote, and I really pushed for Mingus, and Mingus was elected. As I said, he ended up with no students. Well,
why weren't people studying with him? Were they intimidated?
No, I think because they didn't know who he was. Because
they didn't know who he was?
No,
oh, wow.
most of the faculty didn't.
That's crazy to me.
And the students, I know. Most of the students were very much into, straight structuralist.
Very classical, yeah.
Yeah, that was to say I was into jazz, but very, very much at the time. I still am.
Yeah.
And doing overtone singing as a solo recital mostly, workshops, and some things like that. Some kind of, well, what should I call it? Not a gripe, but something that grabs me a little about this prima materia thing is that I wish all these record companies would put out the things that I do now with overtone singing.
Right, I know, right? It's always like,
because to me, it's much, much, much more interesting. And actually, something is coming out this year. And well, I'll let you know when that record comes out. You might be interested.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Since the '80s, you've worked with some various different record labels. Have you also been releasing music yourself? Continue to do that?
No,
not so much. Okay.
No, because. No, it was too much of a pain, to set up.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
And I made records with different companies, and well, they all seem to be different. That's what people tell me, even though in my mind they all stick together. But you know how it is. I mean, what can I say? Well, I think one of my best records is "Memories of the Rainforest." I don't know if you know that. For Amiata Records, it's a minimalist piece, but with also some little overtone singing. It's complex, very complex in form.
Yeah.
And I would like it if that came out again. But and other than that, well, I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing. Right now, I'm working a lot with, I don't know how to call it. I think some people call it recomposition. In other words, I take a piece of existing music, it could be Schubert or anyone, and I write other things on top of it,
Oh, okay.
a lot of other things.
Hmm.
And
So you're using like the structure and the form of the piece and maybe the harmony.
yeah, sometimes even the melody as it is,
Mhm.
but I had a lot of things, a lot of things.
Hmm.
That's also is going to come out pretty soon. I hope I'm finishing work these days. And what else? Well, I don't know.
Have you continued to teach as well, or mostly focus on composing and performing?
Yeah, I continue teaching at the conservatory. I'm retired now
Okay.
since 2011.
Okay.
And it's real nirvana, man. I mean, to me, that's fantastic, you know, that I can do
Yeah.
all. Well, because when you teach an instrument, maybe you change about the instrument. You're the one who changes perspective, you know. And I was not interested in playing classical clarinet anymore, or
Right.
even avant-garde clarinet, you know. But that's not what my students wanted, you know. So I'm glad that's
Right.
over. Now I do what I want to do.
Yeah, that's great. You can just focus on your own music and playing and everything. So, well, great. I think, you know, I appreciate you chatting with me today. It's probably a good place to wrap up, and I will post this video once we announce the PRIMA Materia issue. And yeah, it was great chatting with you, and we'll keep in touch.
All right.
All right, thanks, Roberto. Have a good evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Ciao. Ciao. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.